folks. I want to wish you a Happy New Year, and thanks for coming back to a podcast number 6 in my corner called Cole's Corner, where we talk about sharing about Course of Love, a book that was first received by Marie Baron, and one of the most exquisite materials. Barry's been lately sending some beautiful renditions. I think he caught up on my idea of slowing down and just reads them really beautifully. And just for those that I kind of want to fall asleep in my talks, it's mainly because I live in this stillness and slowness where there is no need to change things much, just simply being. But I do believe in this, the slower we get, the more still we get. And since the minds are so determined to figure things out, which is one of the biggest barriers to everything. Yeah. So maybe I could throw in a couple of nice questions to New Year resolutions that could help us to undo this inner drivenness that sometimes leads us to seek and seek and seek, and actually we think we are finding, but the actual real finding does not happen. And so first one would be like, could I let go of wanting to figure everything out? Could I just let go of wanting, not figuring, but wanting to figure things out? And you ask that question over and over, and you might say yes, and you say it a few more times, and you begin to feel deeper, and you begin to really feel the depth of your drivenness. And I realized that actually you don't want to let go, and not letting go is what is everything that we hold on to. And holding on to doesn't allow creation to birth in us and explode in its fresh and new way. So ideally, we just want to let go of all these wants and needs. I might have spoken about this before. Needs come when we deny our inheritance. We have everything in us already. We are accomplished. Like right there as you are, here as I am the accomplished. Yeah. You could try it on yourself. I am the accomplished. And if you stop wanting to figure it out, the accomplished basically emerges, right? But while we're in this effort, in this mad search for truth and mad search for wanting to know more, if I just had more information, maybe the next book or the next talk is going to reveal to me what it really is. And yet, book will never reveal it to you. Only you will reveal yourself to you. But for that, we need to prepare a space when we just stop trying, stop wanting, and realize that we already have everything. But we can't do that if we're still just wanting. So that's a beautiful question to start with, Same with, often we go like, what do I do with my life? What do I do? Could you let go of wanting to know what to do, right? Could I let go of wanting to know exactly what to do? And just say yes, or you say no. One of them is going to be truer than the other. And these are really profound questions. Could I let go of wanting to know the answers? Right? Wanting to know the answers keeps us in that wanting, and the wanting is exactly what actually denies the fact that we are accomplished and we have all the answers. And we know exactly what to do, and we know what everything is. But this driving, this what would you call it? Something that drives something, yeah? Would that be ego? Yeah. Because ego divided itself, it separated itself from the wholeness. And now it's lacking wholeness. It's lacking substance. It's lacking connection, and not in a relationship, not in a good relationship with all of ourselves. And then it frantically judges everything and attacks everything. And that creates that inner war that often comes from appearing to be somewhere else. There's a war over there. There is a war over there. And it's got nothing to do with me. Until you realize that everything has to do with you. What you see is because you want to see it. And so it will come, yeah? You want. We want. So, could I let go of wanting to know everything right now? Yes or no? It comes yes, let's say. And could I let go of wanting to know everything right now? Yes. And then suddenly you say it a few times and it goes like, actually, no, I don't want to let go. I don't want to let go. And that is when you begin to see that will actually give you release. It will give you openness. Eh? And now comes a really cool one. It says like, could I let go of wanting to think? Could I let go of wanting to think? And this is the beautiful thing, because you don't have to come up with any kind of answer except yes or no. Could I? Could you let go? And when would that be? And so I actually learned this a long time ago. It's called a Sedona course, the Sedona process, and it's all about basically releasing absolutely everything that we let ourselves to be stuck with. And why it came to me, because I was reading today, I had a Zoom group with my group that goes live every Saturday, Australian time. And we were just reading that, and I'm going like, God, that just reminds me of Sedona. So I had a look at it again and just found this wonderful little page of few questions, and I go, I'm just gonna keep doing this, and I'm sitting here doing it, and just brought me into such quietness, because I just allow myself to basically, let let go of wanting to think, let go of wanting to feel anyway, you know. And there's two more that are just absolutely profound. And one is like, can I let go of disapproving of myself right now? Yeah. Because if you not having what you really want right now, somewhere there is an undercurrent of disapproval. This is what the Course in Miracles calls an attack upon myself, right? So you have this exquisite part of you that's accomplished, but it's not allowed to be what it is. And it's layered by disapprovals, even approvals. So, first one is, can I let go of disapproving of myself right now? Could you? Could I? And you just say which one is more true. You can say, no, I can't let go of disapproving of myself. I want to keep disapproving of myself. And that could be more true. And what we're looking for is, which is a very important part of our transformation, is honesty. Yeah, being really, truly, truly honest. And it doesn't matter whether you say no or yes. What matters is which one gives you more release. Which one gives you that sense of, oh, I can just relax. I can enter into this silence where I'm no longer driven to figure things out, to approve of myself, to disapprove of myself, to think. All of those, just let go, and it comes stillness. And with that stillness, you open to your true feeling self, your true, they're using a cool word here, they call imperturbability. I don't even know if I can pronounce that properly, right? It's like where you just can't be shaken by anything that's not of God. And so the second question is like, could I give myself approval just for no reason? Can you give yourself an approval? And again, say yes or no. Which one's more true? You can say yes and feel like tension, and then you can say, could I give myself approval? And you say no. And that's more true. And stay with it, because you get in touch with this part of you that's stopping you from being completely free. Free now. Course in Miracles has a cool line. It says, enlightenment is nothing but a recognition. Yeah, you just remember who you are. In a blink of an eye, you return to forever. You return to who you are, and then that which you are takes over and leaves you effortlessly. In a place where you virtually need to do nothing. Just step back and let that take over and be your main you, instead of, it's like a replacement from ego. Actually, the minute you drop into that place, ego virtually vanishes. You don't have to kill it off. You don't have to get rid of it. It goes. Because you know what? When there is truth, ego has no power there. It's seen for what it is, and it merely disappears. And we remember our wholeness. And there is no part of us that's separate from wholeness. And when it happens in us, when we fully, it actually incarnates us. I think one of the biggest problems with the human race that hasn't fully incarnated itself. Because it lives in the mind, it lives in the head mostly, and occasional heart moments and occasional real feelings, and this profound honesty and openness and full trust and radiance. Just you begin to ooze, just like the sun. Yeah, just simply shine, and there you are in your full incarnation. But because some of us can get sometimes caught up in problems, and the problems lead us into our head, and head leads into this crazy cycle of figuring things out, So you grab a problem, and then the minute you have a problem, you're not secure because you're not sure if you're going to figure it out or not. Yeah. So then you're trying to figure it out. So now you're trying. Like I keep saying, trying is dying. Yeah. And then comes this want. I want to know what to do. I want to know what the answer is. We try harder and harder, and then we disapprove of ourselves. Then begin to beat ourselves up, and then we hold still on that very problem. So we get into this vicious cycle of problem, then we have a problem with the problem, and then we have a problem with figuring it all out. And there it is, vicious cycle. And it just goes on and on and on until we stop and stop figuring things out. Now, let's go back to the text. Paragraph 31. What does it mean to believe in God? What is it really? You recognize that you cannot know God in the same way in which you know another human being, and yet you keep seeking for this type of knowing. Even with another human being, knowing what they stand for, what their truth is, what rules they obey, and how they think, and how what they think aligns with what they do, in the essence of knowing them, right? God gave you the word to know Him by. And this comes back again to this non-full reincarnation into the body. It's not landing fully in our wholeness. There are parts in us that we decided they were not good enough or not worthy enough. And obviously, as always, I am pointing to that area of feelings and the different qualities of feelings and our judgments that we placed on those feelings and condemned them to virtually to death. Yeah, some of the feelings basically lie dormant. We don't even know that such a thing exists. It's like that line in Course in Miracles where Jesus says, every twinge of annoyance is nothing but a veil drawn across the intense fury. So every little annoyance would take us there if we follow the thread, if we follow to the core of it, to the nucleus of that little annoyance. It's just it's a pointer. It's not the moon, but it's definitely a finger pointing at it. But unless we follow it, we don't find what's really there. Later on in the book he says, below your conscious awareness is a level or layer of fear to which you're not really aware. However, you're aware of these little fears that have nothing to do with that underlying fear. And so we think we're processing something, but unless we get to that layer, we're just, playing a game. So God gave you the word to know Him by. God gave you the word made flesh as an example to live by. An example of a living God. Yeah, that's what Jesus really was. He was a man who embodied, he actually incarnated fully into being the Son of God, But only just to be an example, not to be something that we now worship, to hopefully make it to heaven one day when we die. Of course, that's a story for children right there. God gave you the Word made flesh as an example to live by, an example of a living God. What more than this is necessary? You seek form when you already have content. Does that make any sense, right? We actually already accomplished in ourselves. Yeah? But I haven't really gone there yet, maybe. And some might have. And they're sitting in that incarnated self, yeah? Fully embodied, where the alignment between your own spirit and your own will creates a heart and elevates your physical body into light. Don't worry about these dimensions, numbers and labels and expectation to go somewhere, because those are just images that we think we can't reach. But we have these images, and they are exactly the blocks to love's presence, because from my personal journey, every time I had a meaningful awakening, it showed me something that I've never even read in the books. It showed me a brand new way of being that was incomparable to anything that has occurred yet. And that's also really well said in a teacher's manual. He explains this very well, because we often think, peace of God, I just want peace of God, right? But what is this peace of God? So we have some images of that. We have some imaginations, or we maybe one day we're sitting and we're very quiet somewhere, and we had a meditation where we just entered into this new realm. Yeah? And now we go, that's what that is. Now let's go back there. No, you don't want to go into this what already occurred. There's also this idea that awakening is a one-off things. So from my experience, there was like initial awakening, and there was a deeper own awakening, and there was another awakening, and they were all beyond anything I can really put into words. So let's just have a quick look at this. What is the peace of God? And then he says in here, so first he goes like, well, how can you recognize it? And check this out. God's peace is recognized at first, but just one thing. Check this out. In every way, it is totally unlike all, not some, all previous experiences. It calls to mind nothing that went before. Yeah, it's incomparable. If it's comparable, that's just some kind of positive karma. That kind of brings a joy, but it's definitely not a peace of God. It brings with it no past associations. It is a new thing entirely. Yeah. And then I skip a bit and goes like, the past just slips away, and in its place, it's everlasting quiet. That's a piece of God. Huh? And he goes, only that. That means only that and nothing else. Same as he says at the end of Course in Miracles, which this is clearly a continuation of. He says, seek only these experiences. You learn something smart in a book, good. You can tell it to a friend and they might have a moment saying like, wow, that's lovely, I'll write it down, right? But we want to have this brand new experience. That's why it's always good to approach every lesson as you've never read it, as if you've never seen it before, and see what else it has in it that will bring you into this new place of everlasting quiet that's even deeper than the one before. Yeah, quiet has reached to cover everything. Right? And then you just enter the kingdom. Enter the mystery of faith that this is going to take you to ever new places. Yeah. It's called creation. You don't make up stuff from the past, you bring in the brand new. This is nice. He goes, you read what authors write and feel. Did you know not only their characters, but them as well? Yet, you meet an author face to face, and you can seldom see in them what you saw in their writing. When you meet an author face to face, you view their form. When you read their words, you view their content. When you quit seeing with the ego's eyes, you quit seeing form and quit searching for it. You begin to see content. Now, content is all you have of God. There is no form to see, yet in the content is the form revealed. This is true seeing, for content is all and form is nothing. Yeah? Because everything that's form is perishable. Look around 200 years from now, I don't think any of this you're seeing will be around. Yeah? It's all perishable. None of it will last. Yeah? Our bodies, as we know them, are not going to last. But, hey, we are not our bodies. We're more than that. The content of God is love. Jesus embodied God by embodying love. Here is nice exercise. Yeah. Feel love. You can just think of something that you absolutely love in this world. It could be as little as making your coffee in the morning, or making your juice or whatever you do, or tea, and you sit and you have a moment and you go, oh, I love this. Yeah. So now you have there like a little twinge of love. But sometimes we just leave it at that. And I'm going, okay, how do you embody love like Jesus did? Yeah? What does embodied mean? He's incarnated it. He's become a living, walking example live of what it's like to be a child of God. He was a man who saw the face of Christ in all his brothers and sisters, and he remembered God. And you know what? We can do the same. He didn't say, hey, look what I did. He says, try this, see where it takes you. And so is this whole course. Basically goes like, hey, how about this? How about that? And next minute, he's sitting there in an inexplicable world that was not there before and even couldn't be dreamed about. Yeah. So Jesus came to reverse the way God was thought of, to put an end on seeing God in human terms of vengeance, punishment, and judgment. Jesus did this not only by embodying God in a human form, but in giving a true rather than a false picture of power. Right? So here we go. How do you embody the love? So you feel it. You feel it. You just allow and you let that love that you feel, even if it's just a tiny little bit, and you let that love to take over. Imagine that's your guiding light that's going to introduce the kingdom to you. And so you just let it go free everywhere, and at the beginning, just from your body, If you actually put your attention, you can embody, incarnate that love into your foot. And then you can begin to feel it being born there. And suddenly you just have this like an oozing foot. Yeah? Suddenly like your toe is oozing love of God, and your heel, and then you just keep going all over what you call your body and see if you can enlighten it. If you can let the body be an incarnation of it, and the more you feel it and more you step back and just simply allow without any effort and any imagination how to do it, just be shown. Body is actually extremely intelligent thing that can actually show you things that you have never experienced before. So here we go. Before the coming of the Word made flesh, the incarnation, full embodiment, the only idea humankind could draw of an all-powerful being was a being whose power resembled the powerful amongst them. So we projected all these images of other people onto God, wrathful God and angry God and loving God, and somebody looked loving, and so we projected this love onto God. But God's love is not such. Because if there is an imagery, there is a tombstone. There's an image of something that becomes solid, particularly if we hoard it, if we store it. Jesus took such a stand against those with this kind of power that he was put to death. But Jesus did not abdicate for a powerless people. Jesus thought true power, the power of love, a power proven by the resurrection. This is exciting, isn't it? Now check this one out. Jesus, united with the Christ in you, is he who can teach you who you are and how to live as who you are in a new world. So with this new level of openness, we're going to create a new world. It's not going to just rock up because some planets are aligned or something like that. It's again just a little bit of it like, ooh, there is this energy coming from Pleiadians. Well, good. Until you speed up your vibratory rate to the speed of light and there's often this fallacy of thinking that the faster it moves, the better it is, or higher it is, and higher is better than lower. And that's also not true. Because when this peace of God dawns on me, it's got nothing to do with higher vibrations. It actually stills everything. And instead of things jittering in me, the light just gently shines. It's soft, it's yielding, it's informing, it's showing me a new way of being. So it's how to make that new world has to be built first within. Otherwise, we will not be able to see the golden age, even if we just wait until it appears, right? It's not going to happen that way. It comes from within first, and then it's extended, not even projected, it's extended outwards. He can open heaven to you and walk you through these gates, there to exchange this world at last for your true home. But it is not your body that will pass through heaven's gates, nor your body's eyes that will view the new world you will behold and take with you. So it's not something we will see with these eyes, and therefore it's nothing of this world. It is the inner world, the inner kingdom. And for me personally, it was like, when I was ready, he was right here. Say, here, there, see ya. I was like, holy, this kingdom of heaven is closer than my breath. It was in a sort of dimension that I was just simply not aware. And then, funny thing was, I could see the kingdom in everyone. To view a physical world of dimension, shape and scope like unto the old, and hope to transport it from one place to another would be delusional. The new world does not have to do with form, but with content. A content that is as transferable as an author's words upon a page. then he goes, how many would not travel to heaven if they could get on a bus and be transported there? Yet each of you holds within you the power to reach heaven. What? Each of you, right? Not just some chosen ones. We all have it. He's given it to us here straight from his mouth. There is no scribes in between. This is a direct message. This didn't go from generation to generation and was written by these and translated by those and then translated again. This is direct. Knowing yourself as who you really are is the only thing that will allow you to quit fearing your power. Jesus accepted his power and so brought the power of heaven to earth. This is what the Christ in you can teach you to do. Who can teach you that? Christ in you. Not even this book. He's just giving you suggestions until you get to a place where it begins to happen in you. Where first the Christ is born in you and then grows a bit and then begins to inform you on how and what to do. And that really is where we enter into this effortlessness, where you are just suddenly doing something without too much planning, or it just happens. It's like, how did I end up doing this? This is miracle-mindedness. This is love. Yeah? When the Christ within you begins to teach you how to become a full embodied child of God, Word become flesh. Yeah, you incarnate anything that you didn't even know would please you and delight you. This is oneness. The Christ in you teaches only in a sense of imparting knowledge that you already have and once again have access to as you join with your own real self, capital S. Once this is accomplished, you are accomplished because you are complete. But if your joining with Christ is the accomplishment and completion of all the lessons, who is He who provides the lesson or lessons? This is Jesus. The Christ in you is your shared identity. Yeah. You virtually begin to attune to this original man, yeah, the Christ that that even walked the earth, and you begin to merge into the example life he was, and you begin to incarnate it within yourself, and you begin to wear those sandals, and then you walk his talk, and from that we get informed how to be just like that, except you still yourself. This is amazing how you'll be still you, but transformed. But you still have a lot to offer around you. This shared identity made Jesus one with Christ. The two names mean the same thing, as oneness is what was always shared and always will be. You are eternally one with Christ. The only way you can identify Jesus differently is to relate to the Jesus who was a man, the Jesus who existed in history. This is the same way in which you are able to see yourself as man or a woman, as a being existing in a particular time in history. This one, or at best three-dimensional nature of your seeing is the nature of the problem. If you cannot see yourself other than as man or woman living in a particular place, in a particular time, you cannot see your true self. Thus, Jesus comes to you again in a way that you can accept, to lead you beyond what you can accept to what is true. Wow. Every time I read this prelude, it just takes me to a different way of looking at it. It's unbelievable. It transfers experiences. It drops me. Basically, it's constantly directing us to our heart, but just not to the heart that we remember as heart. There's something that's maybe somewhere around in our chest. Here comes the cicadas to join me. I'm just going to pause this and close some windows and doors, because last time I listened to it and I found it that that frequency was quite strong, particularly if the speaker is a bit louder. So, it's evening again, and they're gonna be saying hello. So here we go, talking about little cicadas. It comes to say, paragraph 40, to tell someone, even a young child, that a caterpillar becomes a butterfly is seemingly unbelievable. This does not make it any less true. The butterfly, although some perceive it as a being lovelier to behold, is still the same being as the caterpillar. The caterpillar did not cease to exist. It simply transformed into what it always was. Thus, it would seem as if the butterfly is both butterfly and caterpillar. Two separate things become one. You are well aware of the fact that if you could not see the transformation take place within your own two eyes, you would not believe that the two seemingly disparate creatures were the same. Someone telling you this story of transformation without being able to show you proof that you could see would be accused of making up a fairy tale for your amusement. How many of you see the story of your own self in this same frame of mind? It is a nice fairy tale, an acceptable myth, but until your body's eyes can behold the proof, this is what it will remain. I'd like to share a little bit what happened to me when I had my first glimpses of this awakening, and one of them was that my eyes kind of turned backwards, upwards, backwards, and downwards, and virtually created this one eye within. So they disappear from being two eyes. And that is what in A Course in Miracles they call vision. You begin to see with that very differently, and everything on within leads up. And you basically see the kingdom within, but you can't see it with these two eyes. They do transform. They're almost like similar to that caterpillar and a butterfly. They just turn into another way of looking. And then he goes on, he goes, this is the insanity of the nightmare you choose not to awaken from. It is as if you have said, I will not open my eyes until someone proves to me that they will see when they are opened. You sit in darkness, awaiting proof that only your own light will dispel. 42. Your willingness to learn is evident, or you would not be here. You have been told and told again that a little willingness is all that is necessary. Why do you seem then to have not advanced, or to have advanced only a little bit, when your willingness is mighty? Only because you have not vanquished the ego. You learn, and then you let the ego go and take all you have learned from you again and still again. It is ingenious in its ways of getting you to turn back again and still again until you feel as if you are going in and out through a revolving door. Okay, last two paragraphs. You were yourself, capital S, before you began your learning. And the ego cannot take away yourself from you, but only can obscure it. Thus, the teachings you need now are to help you separate the ego from yourself and help you learn to hear only one voice. Last paragraph. This time, we take a direct approach, an approach that seemed at first to leave behind abstract learning and the complex mechanisms of the mind that so betray you. you take a step away from intellect, the pride of the ego, and approach this final learning through the realm of the heart. This is why, to end confusion, we call this course a course of love. So this is the end of Prelude. I find it as such an exquisite summary of the whole teaching of the Course of Love that is yet to come. This is just at the beginning. Course in Miracles was written differently. You know how he says in here, so like we take a direct approach. A Course in Miracles, from my experience, obviously, some people have different experiences with it, but from my experience, Course in Miracles was designed to keep you practicing forgiveness, to train you. So he set it up in quite a complex way. I bet many of you who did the Course in Miracles will have to say, wow, it's almost too heady, too complex. But it's exactly done for that, because the mind and the ego is very complex. It's a very complex mechanism, very cunning, and on some level it's very clever, very intelligent in how to fool us, how to stay us bound to itself. So it gives you this elaborate book, and it can't give you the end result, because he needs you to train. There's a beautiful, so I can quickly find it, lesson 104, which says, I seek but what belongs to me in truth. And he said something really cool in here. He says like, I'll just read that first paragraph because it's so cool. Today's idea, which is I seek but what belongs to me in truth, continues with the thought that joy and peace are not but idle dreams. They are your right because of what you are. They come to you from God, who cannot fail to give you what He wills. Watch this. Yet must there be a place made ready to receive His gift. And so this Course in Miracles, in a systematic way, trains your mind to another way of perceiving, to another way of being, and it makes you ready and able to then be more miracle-minded, being willing to let go of all the conditioning and the old approaches, and be also a little bit comfortable with those moments when the light comes in you. I often say, just that this awakening is often quite an intense little experience. It's not, like I always say, it's not a walk in a park, It can be a little bit intense. And so he says in here, like there must be a place made ready to receive these gifts. So now that we have gone through this mind training of the Course in Miracles, now we have a readiness to enter the kingdom through going directly into the heart. Because once we enter the heart, the ego, which is, for example, from my perspective, in the Bible, is this King Herod, who just wants to kill this child no matter what. Let's kill them all, so we make sure they're all dead. Yeah? So that is really that ego mind that some love will occur in your heart, and it will do anything to get you out of there. That's why if you do read Course of Love, I would suggest one thing. which I found really powerful. I guarantee you that as you read this book, you will go into these moments when you just go like, oh, and you close your eyes and you enter into light. You will feel it. You will just go like, wow. You will not be able to read. Huh? So now you're there. And I recommend try not to get out of it by saying, oh, I have to finish my chapter. Or I have to finish the line. Don't worry about it. Close the book down. Put it aside. It's actually quite useless to you in this moment. Yeah? And enter the kingdom. So learn how to stay in that place. That is what he means by there must be a place made ready to receive his gifts. Right? So you begin to enter into these places of like, oh, it's almost like an invisibility. You know? But suddenly you almost have a feeling like your body is not exactly as it was before. And in this moment comes a desire to get rid of this light. So you need to know about that. Yeah. Also comes a fear of God, because you come into this place and it's just like you're like in a heaven's gate. The door's going to open and there's God saying, hello. Hello, my son. Hello, my daughter. Come here. Where have you been? Right? And it just embraces you with the most gorgeous embrace you could ever experience, right? And that could be a little bit, because it's so different to everything we know. It could be a little bit like, okay, right? So this fear of God, this desire to get rid of, this experience is that Course in Miracles really helped us to train us to remain more and more often. That's why he says, do this every hour, do this every half hour, or do this every 15 minutes, or do it 5 times a day. So he keeps giving you all these different trainings where you get used to sitting in this exquisite quietness. Yeah? Ego hates this. It will find anything. It will tell you most ridiculous things like, oh my God, if I don't eat something right now, I'm going to pass out. It will tell you that you definitely have to go. You definitely need a cup of tea. You definitely need to go to the toilet. You could do anything to take you out of this. But once you're aware of it, you'll go, here it comes. Here it comes, taking me away. And you just say, guess what? I'm not coming. I don't need a cup of tea. I don't need any of this. I am just willing to stay here, and I'm open and made ready to receive the teachings and the understandings that come from within. Because like it says, the salvation comes from you and nowhere else. So this is where those lessons of A Course in Miracles are impeccable. So I'll bring this to a close. So this is the podcast number 6. I think I'll make another 6 and then I'll let it go. And so we'll see where it takes us next. I think next week I'd like to share chapter 1 with you, because that was exactly when this course was given to me without doing it. I just started, I did one little paragraph, transferred me into this wholeness of being in one go, and then I could not even open this book for a month. So some of the information in here is very enlivening, very awakening, and so small moves. And if you don't understand something, just accept you don't understand, just keep going or take a break. It's not something that can be rushed. And for those who are not maybe into Course of Love, but wants to have this place made ready to receive this gift. Course in Miracles lesson, I don't know if you know, but every year people start, because it's 365 lessons, every year people actually start doing these lessons on the 1st of January. And there are many, many, many people on the planet that are actually doing these lessons at the same day. And Barry has recorded many of them. Not all of them yet, but many of them. And hopefully one day he completes that exquisite workbook. I've just completed that workbook in Slovakian, which was an amazing achievement, and I feel very fulfilled by. And so for those who've never done Course in Miracles, it's got these amazing lessons that every day give you a little suggestion how to go about it, but they really quantum leaps. So I'll take this opportunity to wish you all a happy new year, happy and prosperous and fulfilling